Item number 7, adoption of the Cities of Yuba City fiscal year 2014-15 operating and capital budgets and fiscal year 2014-15 appropriations limit. Spencer.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. A detailed budget workshop was held last Tuesday where the finance director spent an hour and a half providing a detailed review of the changes in the city's budget for fiscal year 14-15. City council members and the public asked questions regarding the proposed budget. Therefore, tonight's presentation will be a very high-level summary overview of the major operating funds of the budget, the general fund, the wastewater, and water funds. Additionally, at the budget workshop, the Public Works Director provided a presentation on the proposed capital improvement project budget, and City Council asked questions and reviewed the details of the city's proposed $52.3 million CIP projects during fiscal year 14-15. A summary of those will also be presented tonight. So, a few highlights of the general fund operating budget are that the budget workshop again was held on May 27th. It's a status quo budget pending ongoing negotiations with bargaining units. It contains a 10% furlough. It has a deficit of $1.4 million. Revenues and expenses both increased by $1 million. Budget impacts will be provided with proposed MOUs to amend the fiscal year 14-15 adopted budget as negotiations conclude. This is a graphical representation of the city's general fund revenues and expenses, with revenues being in green and expenses in red. The fiscal year 14-15 budget represents our 7th operating budget deficit, operating budget with a deficit. The lines shown are actual revenues and expenses for all years except 13-14 and 14-15. Fiscal year 13-14 is projected based on the projected revenue shown in the budget and the year-end expenditure totals provided by the departments included with their budget submissions. The fiscal year 14-15 is based on the proposed budget and includes the deficit of $1.41 million. Next, this is a line graph of the wastewater fund activity. Just like the general fund slide, the fiscal year 13-14 data is projected information, and the fiscal year 14-15 data is based on the proposed budget. The green line is revenues and includes both operating and capital revenues. The red line is expenditures and includes both operating costs and debt service. The gold color line represents CIP project expenditures. You can see that the revenues have always exceeded the expenditures for our wastewater funds, and we continue to adequately maintain our debt coverage ratios for the wastewater funds. And I guess you can't see this in the back, but where you see the dips and peaks and valleys of the CIP just represents large projects like plant improvement and this is wastewater plant improvement and large underground projects that are occurring. This is a line graph of the water fund activity. You can see in both fiscal year 7 and 8 and fiscal year 8 and 9, combined operating capital revenues barely exceeded expenses. This has been improving with the implementation of the last rate study increases approved by City Council. And again, the gold line representing the CIP peaks and valleys has to do with Tierra Buena annexation and expansion of the water system, plant improvements, and underground improvements. On display now is a summary of the capital projects. As you can see, the streets and road projects and DIF projects each are going to total right around $3 million this year. Water and wastewater are going to each total around $4 million this year. And we're anticipating $13 million in state revolving loan fund project funding and projects. And then the remaining $23 million is other funding that could range from grants, state funding sources, sources that are other than general fund, streets and roads, water and wastewater. So given the slides that you've seen and the information you received at the budget study session, staff recommends that, 1, Council adopt a resolution approving the proposed fiscal year 2014-15 operating budget. The proposed all funds budget summary for fiscal year 2014 was attached with your staff report material. And 2, adopt a resolution approving the fiscal year 2014-15 capital improvement program. And 3, adopt a resolution approving the city's appropriations limit for fiscal year 2014-15. Does the council have any questions for me?
Any questions for Spencer on the budget? Okay, what's the pleasure of the council?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Spencer.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
just for the benefit of the public, should anyone wish to see the PowerPoint presentation that was provided to your council by the finance director, it is available by link on our website.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.